I'm better off calling my own shots now. Get used to it.
You aren't ready. You're impatient and hot-tempered, and more importantly, I'm better than you.
Oh, you know something, big brother? I'd have to disagree with you on that one.
Don't do this, Raph.
I'm done taking orders.
Welcome to the Turtle Power Podcast. Coming up straight from the sewers, this is your audio source for all the news, reviews, and insight into the world of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now grab a slice, tie your mask on tight, and enjoy this episode of
Turtle Power!
Yes, it is episode 3 of the Turtle Power Podcast. Listen to that brand new intro. Well, it's not brand new, and you guys can't even hear it yet. That's right. Yeah, I am talking to my co-hosts for the Turtle Power Podcast. Once again, we've got Darby and Alex on the line. Say hello, guys.
Bossa Nova.
Booyakasha.
I will say that Bossa Nova is better than Booyakasha.
Okay.
Right now, yes.
I will.
Anything Donatello says is pretty much the best thing. So, take that for what it's worth.
All right. I can't really say much to that because Leonardo doesn't really say the best things ever. So, nothing he says is ever catchy. So.
And yet he rags on Mikey for trying to come up with his own catchphrase from time to time.
So, yes, this is episode 3. Hopefully, if you haven't gone back to listen to episode 2 or 1, you might as well avoid 1.
Yes.
That was pretty bad. Yeah, so in the last episode, we talked about the movies and the television shows, but this week we're going to expand upon our general discussion of the franchise, where we really get into, well, I don't want to say we get into too much depth, but a little bit with regards to, where it all started in the comic books. And then also we're going to talk a little bit about all the toys. You guys call them toys, action figures, doesn't matter.
Depends on the product. I mean, the Ninja Turtle... The Ninja Turtles is an action figure, yes, but the party wagon, the blimp, I'd have to go with toy.
It's an action toy. It's an action accessory. It is not a toy.
Well, no, my wife made the
action. Yes, action figure.
I had to school my wife that they're definitely not dolls.
No.
Yeah, that's going to be our topic of the show. Part 2 of our franchise overview. Before that, we'll be getting into some news. Follow it all off with the character spotlight and the song of the show. So let's get into the news.
News.
All right, so first item up for talk on this episode is the new app, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic book app. It is out. Finally, we can get the new IDW series digitally, and I saw this and I immediately freaked out. I've been waiting for digital essentially since the series came out. Have you guys had a chance to check this out yet?
I've actually downloaded it myself, and I downloaded the free issue number 1 of the new series.
Kindle uses Android, but...
Right. No, I'm on the iPhone, but I downloaded the first one of the new series, and I can actually vouch for how much Ryan actually went nuts, because I live over 200 miles away, and I think I heard his girlish screams from here.
I got excited. The reason I got excited is because I started, when this series came out, started, following it religiously, buying the actual issues. I've got issues, let's see, in hard copy, I've got issues 1 through, I believe, 7. And then
Of the new IDW ones?
yes, of the new IDW series in hard copy. Yes, 1 through 7, and then I moved. Is essentially what happened. And the comic book store up in I moved down back to Florida from Maryland, and the comic book store I was using up in Maryland, they were taking care of me and getting me the issues I needed and everything, and I wasn't having any luck, essentially, is what happened when I came down here. I do have a couple comic shops around me, but every time I call and ask about the new Turtle series, well, I just didn't get much of a response. So, and actually the last couple I actually ordered online. But I have 1 through 7, and I also have the Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello single issues. It's the micro series. They've got and number 4 is Leonardo.
That's all right.
And and number 5 is Splinter. And they're gonna keep going on, but I mean, we're kind of getting into the comics right now. But anyway, I love the series. It's it's a new take on the Turtles. Like every time the Turtles come out, but I couldn't get them anymore. I couldn't get them anymore. And I was really hoping that they went digital. And now that they have, I'm very, very happy. So, definitely suggest everyone checking it out. There is an actual Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle app. It's based on the Comixology app, and you can actually get the comics on both the actual Comixology app and the IDW Comics app as well. But if you'd like to keep it, all your Turtle comics together in one area, definitely go for the Ninja Turtles app. So,
well, the Ninja Turtles app is much. I mean, it's just focuses straight on the Turtles, and it's got it divided by ongoing series, the micro series, the Infestation, and the free issues, and so on and so forth. It's got a lot of cool quick links and just added comics, and I have both, but I like that one. Just the straight TMNT comics one a lot better.
Yes, yeah, I also have both, but I really enjoy having them kind of off on their own separate little spot where I know I can just go straight to them. And at the time of the recording, they do have 3 free issues. It's issue 1, micro series number 3, which is the Donatello issue, and then also Infestation 2, issue number 1. So definitely check that out. I give it a 2 thumbs up or 2.
I'm kind of happy that Donatello is the free issue, but I'm also kind of bummed because it makes me believe they think nobody wants to buy Donatello's issue away for free.
No, I don't necessarily think so. I think it's just
I
just
think
a
that
random.
might be valid. But
I'll knock on it if I have to, but I mean I'll call it what it is.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's just the point to it.
I think he's more popular than you're really giving him credit for. I mean, he's a pretty big he's popular. In my eyes, he's more popular than Michelangelo. Definitely, at least now. Anyway.
I think a lot of people tend to outgrow liking Michelangelo as their favorite turtle when they're little kids.
He's just like Bart Simpson. He's just like Bart Simpson.
Yeah,
you outgrew Bart, started liking Homer.
Exactly, and then the series kind of switched over to Homer. So, but that's a completely different subject.
Yes.
It is. But that's okay. This is a conversational podcast, as a certain other podcast that I listen to likes to say. So, all right. So, news item number 2. And we talked about this in episode 2, which is funny that this hit the news waves. The next Mutation is coming out on DVD. Yes.
That was the same exact sound I made last time.
So I know both of you guys are going to run out and get it.
I can't wait to just... Yeah, I mean, it's not even worth pirating, is it? I mean, God.
Well, you can... No, you can... I mean, like we said...
Netflix. No.
Like we said, you can watch this on streaming Netflix, right now, but...
Yeah, if in case there's not like a stick nearby I can't jam my eye with, maybe I'll watch it.
Have you guys tried watching it on Netflix at all lately? I'll take that as I haven't had a chance yet.
I have not had the time or opportunity. That'd be the dumbest question I've ever asked in this young podcast of ours.
I think I've found things to do. I think I've actually proactively cleaned the house to get away from having to sit down and watch that.
I chopped up the dishes. I think I've actually rolled around. I cut myself with some glass and then rolled around in some salt. I think I did that instead. Some lemon juice squeezed right in there. Yeah, I think I did that.
Nice.
Much more entertaining.
Well, for those that can.
But if anyone does care, it is available for pre-order.
Exactly. As we're sitting here, just hating it to no end. If you are interested,
it is still part of turtle culture. Kind
of, yeah. For those who haven't totally wiped it from
the
slate.
like
if you talk to Peter Laird,
I don't know if I want to take it to that level, but I will. It's like the turtle Holocaust. It's something we just don't want to talk about. Okay,
we don't want to talk about it, and a lot of people even deny that it ever happened.
Oh my gosh!
So.
Wow. Well, yeah. So if you're interested, it's available for pre-order on Amazon, and it's set for release on September 4th. Moving on. All right, so this is the big news. When I say big, I mean this was absolutely everywhere.
It was so that I found out about it before Ryan did. And
yes, you did, and I'll explain why. Yeah, so the big news, the Ninja Turtles, which is the presumptive title for the movie. Well, here's the update. If you've been living under a rock, news came out from Vancouver, actually from the Providence.com, that Ninja Turtles is going to be filming up in Vancouver this fall.
So not only are they aliens, now they're Canadian.
Canadian aliens. Canadian alien.
All Canadians aliens anyway, so that just kind of ties in.
Oh, good point.
I guess maybe
Canadian
that's
alien.
The whole world.
Canadian and alien actually rhyme too. So.
Ooh, Raphael, I don't think you should be running off on your own and causing trouble,
Well,
the anchor,
it would be Raphael because that the Mounties wear red and the flag's red. And...
be Canadian. He's way too upset and angry to be Canadian. I don't see it happening with him.
Well, shortly after that news, just a few days later, the interwebs, they blew up. And, Darby, you were saying how you told me about it. And it's really just because I hadn't checked my email because you sent me a text message, and that's why I saw it.
Darby, you get no credit whatsoever.
Yeah.
My investigative journalism skills are all in vain.
Because as soon as you sent me that, I opened up my email, and it's just packed with stories about this. It's
hard to be a valid, member of this podcast team, and Ryan just doesn't give me credit.
I appreciate the heads up. No, in all actuality, you made me check my email, so...
It's okay.
Well, it all started with a story that went up on the HollywoodReporter.com. And the story that went up was that Paramount had shut down the Ninja Turtles reboot and pushed forward its release date from Christmas 2013 to May 2014.
My birthday, 2014.
And reportedly, the reasons for the delay are to identify some cost savings, try to bring down the budget a little bit, and then also to refine the script.
Right into the red.
Absolutely.
They were all blaming Battleship for the massive bomb that it was. They realized they wasted all this money on this movie that tanked so badly. that they actually have to save costs in not just the Ninja Turtles movie, but many other ones. That
Right, yeah,
Joe,
Paramount.
Retaliation, World War Z. There's a few of them.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Paramount's been. I was really upset about this G.I. Joe one because all they're doing with G.I. Joe is just turning it into 3D. I mean, it was ready to be released within like a couple months, and they're like, no. So
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to see Dwayne the Rock's sweaty arse, walk,
Who
running
doesn't want
around?
to see the pet pop of love in 3D? Pet pop of love in 3D. Throw a berry on it. Boom. In your face.
Well,
Right in your face. In 3D.
okay, come on back. So this, and when I say it blew up, so I get updates from Google, like automatic updates, like every day. There's a story about the Ninja Turtles. Google automatically sends me a list of all the news stories that have come out within the last 24 hours. That
So what
included.
you're telling me is I'm better than Google.
No, because it had already sent me the email. I just hadn't checked it. That
Whatever.
normally daily is anywhere from like maybe 1 to 10, maybe 10. That's high. There was 41 stories in one day about this, and of course with the internet, when something gets reported on one site and then gets to another site and then gets to another site and down the line.
They tell two friends, and then they tell two friends, and so
They
on
tell
and
two
so
friends.
on.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody goes back to the original source. So by the time, if you read one of these other sites that are reporting on what they heard from another site, which they heard from another site, essentially you're reading that, the movie's down forever. They canceled it or whatever. Like, I saw a lot of really bad reporting, a lot of these sites, but essentially it's just they're just holding off on the filming. Now, the reason I think that it blew up so big was that last thing that I said was that they're refining the script. And that's what was reported in this story from the Hollywood Reporter, is that they're refining the script. And what I think the reason why it blew up is because I kind of feel like the internet thinks that it won a battle, and that
I'm just hoping that Battleship tanked so badly that the Ninja Turtles movie cannot afford to CG or even create a home planet for the Ninja Turtles.
Well,
Like, they couldn't even afford to do that. So if they could just not do that, that'd just be spectacular.
yeah, I mean that might be one of the
think that's
things.
the change
I
to the
did read.
script?
I did read somebody said that somebody said something along those lines where, those two things where they're trying to identify cost savings and refine the script, that might be the way to do it, is to stop having all the space battles, the heavy CG, and
How
bring
is
it.
that a Michael Bay movie if there's not a crap load of space battles and CG and
Well,
explosions all
your
over the place?
explosions, right? That's the big Michael Bay thing, right? So
Yeah, explosions and CG.
So, I mean, that might be what it is. I mean, obviously we don't know, but that makes sense. That might be a way to not only bring the cost down, but also refine the script at the same time. And that whole, obviously the whole internet, which then expands out to just the general public of the whole alien nature, business. And that if that's what they're doing, is if they're taking that part out of the writing out of the script, and this Hollywood Reporter report does name Kevin Eastman as one of the co-writers. So
Yeah, but can I just go on a wild tangent and just talk about how much I'm upset at Kevin Eastman for even allowing this to even happen?
Now, however, if you think about it, in the original comic, the Utroms are from outer space. I believe that it was the Utroms that brought the ooze from outer space. So you could kind of say that the ooze itself was alien, which then made the
I
turtles
could accept
alien.
that.
Well,
I
even
can't
in the
accept-
even in the 1980s series, it was the same thing.
Right.
I just started rewatching that Krang essentially brought down the Ooze and gave Shredder the Ooze to originally turn, Splinter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but that's fine. I can accept that. But if the Turtles are not from this planet, if Splinter is not from this planet, I'm done. Like, that's it. Like, I can't.
Right. Now, if right, and that's, I think that's going to be the big difference, right? Is
and
it
my
if it's going to be
surprised at the loss of its innocence?
if it's because if it's an alien nature, meaning that the ooze is from another planet, or if it's literally there's a planet full of what we know of as Ninja Turtles.
From from all the quotes I've read online, it's always quoted Michael Bay saying something along the lines of them being from an alien planet.
No, not an alien planet.
I'm telling you, the ones that I've read.
Yeah, they obviously haven't actually seen the video. Then
but that's the video. I'm sure he said it in many other interviews.
No. He's only said it once. It's
sure?
been once. Yeah, this all happened with one tiny. It wasn't even an interview. It was a press conference. And it was just one little off-the-hand comment that literally just blew up the internet. So
I'll mess with the Turtles, man. I think he's learning that the hard way.
Well, that's a lesson learned, I guess. But
and one thing too, because I was kind of still stuck on Peck Pops of Love or whatever it was. I'm really interested to see how incredibly ridiculous April O'Neil is going to be in Michael Bay's version and how slutty she's going to be.
She's supposed to be 16.
We're gonna have
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
No. So
Wasn't she?
okay, in the new animated.
Cartoon, but wasn't she going to be 16 in the new movie?
No, and that's in that. There's a. So Kevin Eastman was on a video podcast. Is actually a Lord of the Rings podcast, and he talks a lot about the Ninja Turtles, but in that he talks about the fact that that April will not be 16 in the movie. So no, that you don't have to worry about that, and the whole argument that they've been trying to use for the fact that April being older and the Ninja Turtles being teenagers and how that's kind of awkward. That's what they've been trying to make the argument for the cartoon, for the new animated series. I don't think anyone ever thought that was weird. Okay. No one ever watched any or read any of the other incarnations and said, hey, isn't it kind of weird that April's a little older and Turtles are like teenagers?
Because a teenage boy never had a crush on a non-teenage woman.
That's what I was about to say. Their hormones are going through the roof. I mean, they're short of rubbing one out in their shell.
They're so bad that they had to introduce Venus to the series. Like, that's how bad they are.
How's that? Hey, let's put an expectation behind this, okay?
Thou shalt not speak thy name.
Hey, I'm not saying that's how bad it is, but first of all, most of the kids watching it won't care. I don't care. I didn't care when I watched it. I still don't care.
Right.
I just don't. And yeah, because teenage boys, guess what? They see a beautiful woman, they're probably going to have crushes on them.
Yeah.
Every teenage boy, except for Ryan, grew up with a poster of some model on their wall.
I had Jennifer Lopez. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, but you weren't. No, you didn't. I don't
yeah.
remember that. I remember the Pauly Shore poster. Which leads to more questions. Which leads to far more questions. But going off topic there.
So that's perfectly on point. I don't think that's off topic at all.
So anyway,
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, if you want to check out that interview, it's from theonering.net. It's pretty long. It's like an hour and a half long, and he talks a little bit about the the new movie and some of the ideas. April O'Neil not being 16 years old, and also that the fight style from the for the new movie is going to be based on 2 movies. As far as inspiration goes, those 2 movies being The Raid Redemption and also Fist of Legend. So, and it's got some clips from those movies.
Either of which I've seen, so it's not like I could watch it and go, oh, that's totally not what they did in that movie at all.
Yeah. Well, Fist of Legend at least sounds legit.
Hey, man, the redemption? Come on. That's legit right there. Just the redemption.
It sounds like a low budget horror movie.
It probably is. A low budget kung fu movie.
Yeah, we'll put a link to the comicbookmovie.com has got the video with some comments and some clips of those different movies in here, so you can make up your own mind on the matter. And we'll include that in the show notes for this episode. All right, so, I mean, is there anything else to talk about with regards to the Ninja Turtles movie? I mean, it's getting put on hold. I mean, the next steps is we're just going to have to wait and see what happens next, I guess. I mean,
there's really nothing else. Yeah, there's nothing else really to talk about because there's everything's been said, and we're just really playing the waiting game right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could probably, run off a 20-minute tangent on how much I hate Michael Bay, but I don't feel like that's necessary right now.
Yeah,
we'll
wait.
What we'll do is we'll start an I Hate Michael Bay podcast.
Slash Turtle Power podcast. Slash The Turtles Are Not Aliens podcast.
Well, let's
Slash You Raped My Childhood podcast.
Oh God. So another news story, big news story that hit the interwebs was the new animated trailer. Goodness gracious! I mean, obviously, if you're listening to this, you had to have seen it. I guess. Well, let's
never talk like this. This is funny to me.
I mean, this is exciting. This is big stuff. This is big news.
This is good. It's wonderful. It's just so great.
Let's obviously this is an audio podcast. We can't show the entire thing, but let's play the audio of the new trailer right now.
They were created by accident. They were kept a secret. They were trained for battle. Booyakasha! And now, when their city is under siege, the fate of humanity is in the hands of these 4 turtles. When evil threatens our universe, these 4 brothers are destined to save the world.
Okay, who's next?
Meet Leonardo, the leader.
Stinks to be them.
Donatello, the brains.
Give it all you got.
Raphael, the muscle. And Michelangelo, the wild one.
Hey, I can see a pizza place from up here.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, shelling out justice on Nickelodeon this fall.
Booyakasha!
Sounds weird when he says it.
Sounds weird when you say it.
All right, and there we go.
That was fast.
What do you guys think? I mean, it certainly has changed my attitude towards the new series, but not necessarily positive, negative, all the way around. It's moved my opinion up in some places and down in other places. Alex, we'll go with you first. What do you think?
I thought the animation was really nice. It's definitely going to be a lot funnier than the 2003 series. It's a lot more witty than the 2003 series, and I thought Shredder looked really badass. I don't know if that's just me, but
you thought Shredder looked really badass?
Crap my pants when I saw him. yeah, he looked pretty awesome. It was really initial, like the actual trailer was a big focus on Michelangelo. I think they're going to try to make him a staple for kids again. Just a household name like he was in the 80s. And overall, I do like the animation. I'm excited about the storyline, and it's interesting to see that they were created by accident as opposed to on purpose. But we shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. That's
and we finally got to hear Booyakasha.
Booyakasha!
Yeah, we heard it.
And
Donatello can't pull it off nearly as well as Michelangelo can, though, when he tried to say it. Poor guy.
Nope.
Poor Donnie.
But I like it. I like the Booyakasha. I'm not opposed to it. Oh.
All right, Darby, your.
I'm not opposed to either, as long as I'm good. As the Donatello fan, I can bash him as much as I want. Well, one of the things I was kind of confused about was aren't the weapons supposed to be different?
Well, yeah, that's a good point, and I had noticed that as well.
I sat there going, Mikey still got the nunchucks, Donnie still got the bow staff, and I mean it definitely does look. It looks more kid friendly than I thought it was going to be. Like in the last episode, we were talking about, oh my God, they're giving them more violent weapons. Kids are going to hurt themselves. We're not going to live past the age of 10. Yeah. And then I saw that and I was like, okay, they pretty much just got rid of everything violent in the show except for the missiles at Michelangelo. Yes, Shredder does look impressive. I'm interested to see how that goes.
He had he pulled a little bit of a Wolverine there, didn't he?
Huh?
Yeah.
It was a definite Wolverine with the claws extending out, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't just my imagination. I did see that. Okay.
No. Yeah, it's more like an X-23 thing because I think he only had 2 claws come out.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Right.
For the super dorks listening to this, because that's what we all are if you're listening to this.
All right, and
I liked, like you said, Michelangelo seems to be the one they're going to showcase the most because obviously he's the one the kids are going to flock to because he's the funny one.
Yep.
Donatello's going to. I mean, I do like though. I remember I saw online this guy was doing his analogy of it, and he said his favorite thing about it was Rob Paulsen coming back to do Donatello's voice.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how the voice actors are going to do in this one as well.
Well,
I mean, I didn't hate Jason Biggs as Leonardo. I didn't hate Sean Astin as Raph. It kind of made sense. I kind of knew what the Turtles were going to look like going into it because, Ryan, you showed me the Nickelodeon Hotel when the Ninja Turtles were there.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm assuming that's what they're going to look like in the series. So I was right.
Interesting that you pointed out the voices because I posted over on the Technodrome.com forums. Shout out to those guys over there. Some great Turtle fans over in that community. That was one of the things I liked the most was the voice acting. That was definitely one of the bright points for me. Both Leo and Raph's new voices with Biggs and Aston, thought they were great. Rob's voice as Donnie's still...
That's going to throw me off a bit.
Yes. I'm going to have to get used to it. Mike...
Listening to the show in the background, I'm going to think Raph is talking to Donnie.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, when did Raph get so smart with technology?
Mike's voice is going to be the one that's going to be the hard one for me. It's...
Yeah.
You feel the same way, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a little hard to listen to, but I don't know. Who's doing Mike's voice?
The guy from Ben 10 is doing his voice.
That's
his name is escaping me right now, but it kind of makes sense. Mikey's the youngest one of the Turtles. He's the kid-friendly one. They probably want to get a voice actor from an established kids show.
He's younger by a day, for crying out loud.
Still the youngest. He acts by far the youngest.
Oh, yeah.
So, just by a day, hey, still the youngest. Still the youngest.
Yeah.
Still the youngest. Sure.
CIPES, I believe is how you pronounce it. So,
sure.
Apparently he's a professional surfer, so, and he's from Coral Springs, Florida, so, so at least he's got that going for him. But
wait, South Florida.
Pretty sure that's the only significant thing to come out of Coral Springs.
There's a little bit of Florida humor there. All right, so, but no, I will say, like I said, the voice acting, I liked parts of it. Still gonna have some trouble getting used to mics, but that's okay. Before the trailer hit, I wasn't a fan of the character design too much. But after the trailer hit, I'm starting to enjoy it more.
I think I'll just get used to it as the show goes on.
Right. The emoticons, though, and the emoticons, where after Mikey hits the can and the other three run up to him and shush him, and it says shush in the background.
I actually like it. It's classic Japanese anime.
Yes, it is.
I'm into it. I'm good.
Okay. I mean, it's just gonna be different. It'll just be. I think I'll get used to it, but man, the Booyakasha. even.
I also kind of think it's weird though that Sorry, what?
No, I was just gonna say even my wife thought that was lame.
We grew up on
Yeah, we grew up on Cowabunga.
Cowabunga. Okay, we grew up on that. It's a bit of a transition.
Well, the thing too, and I've said this so many times, what is wrong with Cowabunga?
Outdated, man.
No, it's not outdated. It is so recognized
that they have to get rid of it.
I don't think so. That anybody says that word, they instantly will. Anybody else would instantly recognize that as being with the Turtles.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that needs to. Oh, and Booyakasha is any better? No, that's already associated with Ali G. So that's all. Anyway. Hopefully they bring it back. I mean, they mentioned it at that London panel that maybe, they might try to bring it back because they asked the fans there if they want Cowabunga back, and of course they all cheered like crazy. So we'll see. But
I can see them doing that in a little later episode, dude. That's just they even commented on it on the actual trailer,
Yeah.
Yeah, when Donnie tried to say it, and they said it sounds weird when you say it.
Yep.
And Rat's like, dude, you suck too.
Yeah, exactly. So they may. Again, I don't have a problem with the Booyakasha. I think they're just trying to rebuild the brand, and so I'm fine with it. Good. I
do think it's kind of weird though, because you talked about Shredder and how he looks. The Turtles, they look and they act really kid friendly, and then Shredder shows up, and it's like, what, dude? Gonna scare my kid. Not that I have one.
So, all right. So that's all the news we have for this episode. I mean, there's news coming out from all over the place lately. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye out for any news that hits the web, and we'll try to share any of that news also on our Twitter and Facebook pages as well. So let's move on to the topic of the show, which is going to be part 2 of our franchise overview discussion. And like I said, last episode we focused pretty much on the what we grew up knowing the best, which was the movies and the animated series. And also the, in all variations of. So we talked about, all 5 movies because we are including Turtles Forever. And also the animated series, both the original one, we briefly discussed that other one. And then,
we briefly discussed how Raphael was that guy.
we discussed the 2003 series and the new upcoming series as well. So in this episode, first I'd like to talk about where it all started, the comic book series. Now, the original comic book series started by, as everyone knows, if you're listening to this, I assume you know, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird in 1984.
Huh?
They started their own company called Mirage in the house that they rented out.
In fact, they called it Mirage because it was a mirage of a studio. Because it was legitimately just a kitchen table, a bunch of chairs, and like a drawing desk, and it wasn't a real studio, so they just called it Mirage.
Absolutely. And I guess we'll take this as far. We'll kind of try to tackle this topic by brand, if you will. The Mirage series. There's been, I guess you could say, there's been 4 volumes. The original was from 1984 to 1993. It ran 62 issues over that 9-year or 10-year time span. And IDW has actually started to re-release these both in collected books and also gone through and colored in, because these were in black and white. They had color covers, but they were black and white comics. And IDW has now gone in and colored the pages in and are re-releasing those as well. And I don't know. Do you guys? I can share with you my first memory of seeing this. Now, because I did not know. I mean, we were essentially, like I said, 84. I mean, pretty young.
I was born.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so I was already way into the Turtles before I ever come across the comics, the original comic. Alex is going to drop off here for a sec, and he's going to join back up with us hopefully here in a little bit. Alex, if you're out there, please come back soon. I was in a comic store, and I was looking for, it was one of those, comic book, baseball card, stores. Back home, and I was going through some of their stuff, and at the time, all I really knew about was the Adventures series, which we'll discuss here shortly, which was closer related, I guess you could say, to the animated series. But I did come across the issue 24 and 26 of the original Volume 1, the original series, and these were from 1989, and I was so confused because number one, they all had red bandanas, and I was just incredibly confused. I was like, wait, something's wrong with this. And then I open it up, and it was, like I said, black and white. It was very different from what I was used to seeing on Saturday mornings. So, do you recall your first encounter with the original series?
It's funny. My first encounter with the original series was when I walked into your room as a little kid, and you had a poster on the wall of the Ninja Turtles, all with red bandanas. And I said, what is up with that? Why do they all have red bandanas? Which one is Donatello? Oh, that one with the bow staff. But, I mean, I don't think I ever really read the series when I was a little kid, just because, like you said, it's completely different from the 87 cartoon that we watched. It seems kind of darker, too. I mean, I know it was originally just supposed to be like a spoof on comic books, but I mean, it's pretty gritty and much darker. And when you're, a 6-year-old kid, it's not really the thing I wanted to read when I was that age. I don't know about other people, but I mean, my first experience with that was when I saw the poster in your room, and then you explained to me how they were originally a comic and they had all the same bandanas. Now Raphael was the leader, and I still don't believe that, but that was my first experience with it. Alex probably has far more interesting things to say about it than I do.
The original series, like I said, there's 4 volumes. The first, like we said, the first volume, 84 to 93. Volume 2 is 93 to 95. Much shorter. They basically declining popularity at the time. Ninja Turtles were kind of they were, the animated series was kind of coming down. So Volume 3 started, and this one was kind of weird because it was actually under the Image Comics banner for, I guess it was 96 to 99. This one was interesting because they brought in a lot of, I won't say a lot, but some different characters from the Image Comics universe, including Savage Dragon. And they also did some interesting, storyline twists with the Turtles, including, Leonardo losing his hand, Raphael.
What?
Yeah, Raphael getting scarred, Splinter becoming a bat, Donatello becoming a cyborg.
I remember that, but I don't remember anything else you just said.
So this series was essentially, I mean, it was kind of like its own spin-off. Essentially, you
How
can kind
did
of
Leo
think of
lose
it.
his hand?
You'd have to go back and read it. And I don't know if these will ever be reproduced because they were kind of on its own, on their own
Wall. What happened
thing.
to Michelangelo?
But
seriously, what happened to Michelangelo? All those weird things happened to all the other characters. What happened to Mikey?
I don't remember.
Ah.
So you're gonna have to see if you can try to track these down if you're interested.
Image Comics, huh?
Yep. And then Volume 4 came out in 2001, and this was Peter Laird essentially coming back, taking over with Jim Lawson, bringing the Turtles back to what they felt was the right direction, and in doing so, they essentially totally assumed Volume 3 never happened.
What year was this?
Yeah, they essentially picked up at the end of Volume 2, 15 years later. And this series, I actually have the entire series.
It's actually funny that you said 15 years later. I'll explain why later on in the show. But I just want to point that out.
All right. And this ran 30. Well, it ran for 30 printed issues. There was a 31st that came out online, and apparently Peter had started a 32nd issue, but there's no word if it'll ever get released. And I believe under his current deal with the whole transfer of the Turtles franchise over to Viacom, that he reserved the right to release a certain amount of comics per year if he so chooses to do so. But I don't foresee it happening anytime soon. I think he's enjoying his life
Isn't it kind of strange, though? I mean, in a way, isn't it kind of strange how Peter Laird, just recently sold the Turtles? He had ownership of the property longer than Eastman did, because Eastman left a few years ago, and yet Eastman's the one who showed up to try and to write the script for the new movie.
And not only that, but also for the IDW series, which we'll get into here shortly. But he plays a very big part in that as well.
Eastman or Laird?
Eastman.
He
is, even though he left the franchise back in the late 90s, I believe. He when it transferred over to Viacom, and IDW got the right to do the comic, that was one of the first people they contacted was Kevin to see if he'd be interested in coming back to the franchise, which he did, and he was. From everything I've heard, he's very happy he did so. So,
from everything I heard, Kevin and Peter just kind of took turns taking breaks from the franchise. I mean, besides actually selling the rights to it, but I mean, as the series took off, they would both take turns randomly taking time off of the series.
A lot of it too was getting involved with all the other variations.
Exactly, the TV shows and the toys and everything like that.
Yeah. So they all had their various amounts of input into those as well. But so in addition to the the 4 volumes, there was also a series called Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this was 2 volumes that they tried to fill in some bits and pieces in between the storyline of the, at least volume 1 for the original series. Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, volume 2. Began publication in 2004, so you can check those out. But as I mentioned earlier, the series that mostly because of my age, I was much more interested in the Archie Adventure series, and I guess because the first couple of issues are really based off of the animated series.
They're more kid friendly.
Yeah, for sure. And it was issue number 17 was the one I talked about in the last episode with Raphael and the other 3 turtles on top of the giant, I guess, loggerhead, and Raphael is in his black spandex pants and no bandana.
You love those spandex pants.
But this series had a lot of. If you're a fan of the toys, you'd see a lot of familiar faces in this series, like Mondo Gecko and.
I always liked him. It's a shame he didn't show up in more of the actual cartoons.
Yeah. And I've still got a ton of these available, and they also did movie tie-ins, some one-off specials. But this series, like I said, it was made by Archie, so it was definitely, I guess, more kid-friendly than the original series, but it had some interesting storylines as well. IDW is going to be, or I think they might have already released a collection, at least of the first. I think there's a 100-page book that they just released. I can't remember how many issues it collects, but it's the first few issues of this series. So hopefully they continue on and release some collections for the rest of the series as well, because like I said, there's some pretty good stuff in here, including the Intergalactic Wrestling Federation and
nice.
So and the same Manta Ray. I don't know if you remember Manta Ray.
Yeah, how was Ace Duck the champion of that federation if he lost every single one of his matches? I never understood that.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and
lost every match, but yet he was the champion. Never understood that. He was always showing off too much. He lost to Leatherhead, then he lost to everybody because he was always too full of himself to actually win a match.
Yeah, there was the mighty Mutant Animals. Kind of started with it was based off of this series, and there's some great stuff in here. So I'm actually thumbing through some of my old issues right now, but so hopefully IDW releases an update, or a re-release on some of these Archie series comics. But the new the new stuff, which we briefly discussed earlier in the news section, is the new IDW series. And I mean, I don't want to get into kind of the storyline about it too much, but I mean, it is a different storyline, just like every other series. Changes it up a little bit. I mean, you still have the main, bits and pieces, but it even changes the way the Ninja Turtles are named. Yes, they're all named the same.
Yeah,
but,
from April. April's the one who names them this time.
Right, yeah, exactly. And April is a scientist, which is closer related to the original Mirage series, where she was a scientist. She worked for Baxter Stockman in that series.
Right.
So, and also an interesting, I guess, change of events that occurred was that the Turtles all started off wearing red, and then they end up switching to color. I believe that's in issue 5, I think, the very end of 5, maybe.
Right. And you know who
yeah,
you know who April's new boss is too at the
yes,
at the plant.
Yes. So
I'm gonna get into that later though. A little foreshadowing there.
Oh, okay. All right.
I did like how, I mean, it really didn't bother me that April named him because, April has a really strong connection with the Turtles, just like Splinter does, obviously. But this time, they're her pets. The Turtles are her pets. They're not Splinter's yet at the beginning. Splinter watches over him because he's a rat who has free range of the labs, but April kind of sees them as her pets. And it's funny, too, because even in their pre-mutant state, they still display the traits that they will have after they mutate the Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the little teeny tiny Turtles. Michelangelo's gorging himself on food.
Right.
Donatello's studying a bug. Raphael is where else? Off by himself. And Leo's just kind of meditating. I mean, he might be sleeping, but he's just there. He's kind of hanging out. And I think April thinks he's sleeping or he's just chilling. But it's, I thought it was pretty interesting that even though they're not mutated yet, they still have their basic characteristics pre-mutagen form.
Yeah. All right, and I think we got Alex back in. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we're in. All right, great. As part of this new IDW series, there was a small offshoot series. There's 2 issues so far, I guess. And I know both of you have read it. This is the Infestation 2 series, and there's 2 TMNT issues. Yes, Darby, what did you think about it? If you want to give a little spoiler-free synopsis of what's going on in this universe, and then Alex, please jump in and point out all the places that Darby screws it up.
Oh, fine. All the places. Hate you too, Ryan. Let's see. Well, Infestation 2 is pretty much about there's at the beginning there's a news story about a creature winds up getting shot and killed up on the streets. People are vanishing, never to be seen again. And the man with the plan, Donatello, does his research, like every good turtle should, and finds out there was an occult back in Salem witch times that worship this entity that is actually living down into living in the sewers underneath New York City, and it's pretty much kidnapping people to feed off of them. One of the turtles gets caught. I'm not going to say which one. But the other 3 have to venture further deeper into the tunnels to save their brother. And Mikey blows a lot of stuff up. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but Mikey blows up a lot of stuff in this one, which I thought was thoroughly entertaining.
Alex, does that sound about right?
It's pretty spot on. It's hard to talk about it without spoiling anything.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely just a one-off story. It doesn't really fall into any of the other universes. Really, it's just kind of its own one-off side story, right?
It's a complete side story.
But they're there was something I noticed that I have to point out because I took a picture of it and I sent it to Ryan. One of our favorite things they always did with the 1987 series.
Favorite might not be the right word, but one of the things we like to joke about a lot.
Yeah. Something we joke about a lot was when the bandana colors got mixed up. When Raphael was suddenly Donatello, or Mikey had an L on his buckle and Donatello's voice was coming out of him. Well, there's this great page in the Infestation 2, Volume 1, where they're battling the monster. Leo is wrapped up in the tentacles of this monster, and it shows Donnie and Raph trying to free Leo, and Raphael is blue.
Yep.
Raphael's bandana is blue.
Yep.
I sent a picture to Ryan, who hasn't read it, and Ryan goes, okay, it's Donnie and Leo. And I'm like, actually, zoom in. That's Raph.
Yep.
You can see the size. Leo is nowhere in this shot. And you'd think after 25 years,
they
could figure this out.
If you want to check for yourself, it's if you're reading it digitally, it's page 24 of 28. So you can see there for yourself. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's one of those funny things in Turtle history that is just doesn't matter what year it is. How well spot checking or technology is. It's just one of those things that just always keeps coming up. So. Alex, as far as how you'd rate it? Did you enjoy it? Was it entertaining? Would you recommend it?
I definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was an interesting twist. It's kind of like Alien Parasite meets Ninja Turtles. It's really a very interesting twist on everything, the whole Turtles universe, and I thought it was an interesting little spin. I was very excited about it. And the ending is fantastic because of what a specific turtle does to a specific thing. And,
definitely had some flashbacks on that one.
Yeah,
when I read that, because this is spoiler free. Ryan
wanted
to be spoiler free.
Yeah,
I haven't. It's so awesome.
Spoiler free because I haven't read it yet.
To the one character. Oh yes.
Darby, same thing. You'd recommend this?
I'd recommend it. I mean, the first issue's free, so that helps. But for the poor people like me.
So now, wait. Now, did this happen to both of you? Did you read the first one for free, and then you were like, "Oh, I've got to buy the second one"?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I had to see how it did.
There you go.
I mean, I wasn't disappointed with the ending. And it almost ends on a little bit. I don't want to say a cliffhanger, but it leaves with sort of just the ending at the end. Oh, the word's escaping me right now. Where it just sort of trails off, where they could kind of revisit it if they wanted to. It's not really a cliffhanger, but it's just kind of like, okay, if we want to come back to it, maybe we will.
Outstanding. All right, well, I will check it out then. I actually haven't gone ahead and read those two yet, so I will do that based on your glowing reviews. So, yeah, definitely suggest checking it out. And I think they're on issue 10 right now. If issue 10 isn't, I think issue 10 is out. And as we said, you can get all of these issues on the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book app. So, I guess if there's plenty of info out there about the comics. Actually, Mirage is still selling collected books of the original series.
I actually just came across this while you were talking about the new one, because you were talking about how you read the Donatello story, and I can't believe I didn't even notice this before. But what was Donatello's username on the computer?
Oh, I don't know. What was it?
It Does Machines 84.
Nice.
I find that interesting because obviously Donatello does machines, but they were created in 1984, so that's a pretty cool.
When the series started, that's cool. That's cool. I didn't even notice that.
I just came across this like just now while reading about it, and I thought it was pretty interesting. It's like,
Very cool.
Yeah, little Easter egg there for you.
So some good resources on the net about the comics. Mikey's TMNT.com has got some good info, as well as the Technodrome.com. Both great sources for information about all the comic book series out there. All right, guys, let's move out of the comics now and into a section that is near and dear to all three of us, the toys.
I hate it. What?
Action figures.
Action figures, yes.
Oh, the action. Well, when we had them, I think we were calling them toys. When we were playing with them, they were toys.
As I vehemently stated last time, the figures are action figures, but the accessories are toys. That's how it is. I don't care what you say, Alex.
The accessories are action accessories. They are not toys.
Okay, well, they're definitely not dolls.
Apple Manzana with you. Spanish cat.
Apple Manzana. Very good.
Yes.
That's apple to apple, so it doesn't. But okay.
Not tomato, apple Manzana.
Well, where can we start with this, right? I mean, we all had the original, the original toys. We all had, and all the variations thereof. Let's see. I mean, we could start with some history. They were originally produced in '88, I believe. By Playmates, which still has the...
I believe it was 88.
Yeah. And I believe that it... Yeah, 88, and they... Playmates is still the same company that's been making them ever since. They've got a... and then interesting enough, though, is that Playmates is when they first started making these toys, they were a very small company. And they... still relatively are a fairly small company. It's just that they hit, gold mine with the Turtles. I think they probably had no idea what they were getting into.
That's because the Turtles are such an open forum. Like I said before, you can pretty much create anything you want and add it to the Ninja Turtles. You like cowboys? We'll have Cowboy Ninja Turtle.
Yep.
You like spacemen? We'll make astronaut Ninja Turtles. They'll have a turtle shuttle. Don't ask me why, but they'll have a turtle shuttle.
Well, we'll get to the vehicles here, but let's just kind of run down the list. 88, you've got the four Turtles: April, Shredder, Foot Soldier, Bebop, Rocksteady, and Splinter. 89, you start adding in some of the more famous side characters, including Ace Duck, Genghis Frog, Casey Jones, Metalhead, Leatherhead, Usagi Yojimbo, Rat King, General Trang, Baxter Stockman, and Krang. And this Krang is the one in the little two-legged...
dome.
Yes, dome, for lack of a better term, right.
Helmet, two-legged helmet.
And then you start...
Side note on the 89 series, an unproduced toy... side note on the 89 series, a toy that should have been produced but was never produced was a Casey Jones figure that had an interchangeable head without a mask.
Yeah, because he only had the mask on. That's right. Yep. Very true. Very true.
Sucked.
Yeah, he wasn't very good in the 87 series. No, it was not.
And then they started to introduce some of these, extra featured action figures with the wacky action figures, which you had the Mouser, and I think it was, I don't know, was it all four Turtles, or I can't remember if there was a Leo or not, or But anyway,
Probably
it was. You had a little crank on them. It was like it was kind of like an old like car where you could pull it back and it would take off. This is kind of similar thing, but it's got the little wind up crank on there, and then they would spin their hand around like Michelangelo, and could his hand I think would spin around so he could have his nunchuck, and he stuck his tongue out for some reason. I don't know why. 1990, you bring in the Turtles in Disguise. You've got these were great. I love this series. I had all 4 of these. I'm looking at pictures online of them now as I'm reading through them. You got Undercover Don, he's got the
Undercover Don.
Yeah, he's got
with
the detective suit on, the jacket on. You've got Leonardo in samurai gear.
His inner pocket, like, ready to go and shank somebody.
Don't forget the fedora. Don't forget the fedora.
Oh well, yes,
The
Don had the
fedora.
fedora. Very good. Leo's got the samurai outfit on pre Turtles 3 movie, so he actually kind of a precursor to the 3rd movie. Michelangelo is like the sewer surfer, but he's got like essentially a wetsuit on and like flippers, and like random like sea creatures like attached to his body and seaweed and stuff, and very
Didn't the
neon.
legs kick on that toy? Looking like swim in the water, or is that a completely different toy?
No, this one was just static. But my favorite was Raph the Space Cadet.
That made no sense to me. Like Donatello.
You
detective.
broke.
They're gonna send Raph
You can see
out of
Donatello as a detective. He's a smart guy. He figures stuff out. Michelangelo, sewer surfer. Cool. Leo, he's the warrior. He's the best fighter. He's the best fighter, Ryan. He's the best fighter. Samurai, sword. There you go. Simple.
Well, that makes sense.
Spaceman. What? You
It's
lost me.
because they knew that he was my favorite character, and I was going to grow up to be an aerospace engineer. So that's why it made sense.
Yeah, right. The world revolves around Ryan.
So that was a great series. Anyway, let's move on.
I know it was your favorite toy, Ryan, but it still made no sense. Like, if anything, he should have been like a biker. Give him a leather jacket.
Yeah.
He's a dude with an attitude. He's a biker. I mean, he rides a bike in TMNT.
That's
They
true.
didn't know that was going to happen when they made the toys, but give him something with attitude. Astronaut? I don't think attitude. Donnie should have been the astronaut if they were going to make one of the turtles an astronaut.
Well, yeah, that would have made more sense. I'll give you that. I'll definitely get.
That's
Well,
right.
and that's
Right.
true. In
He does
the
machines
first
really
movie,
smart.
Raph was the one with the trench coat.
Yep.
Looked like a giant turtle
With
in a
the
trench
fedora.
coat. You go in LaGuardia, right?
Yep.
Some more of the basic figures in 90. You had the storage shell, where you open up their shell and put stuff in it. You had that. You had Wingnut and Screw Loose. A lot of these characters were from the Archie series. You had Muckman and Joe Eyeball, Slash, Pizza Face, Scumbug, Napoleon Bonafrog, who he was in the original animated series, I believe. Mondo Gecko. You had the Fugitoid.
You had the Rat King too, didn't you?
Rat King. No, he came out the year before, didn't he? Yeah, Rat King came out in '89. Yep.
Okay.
Mutagen Man, who I believe came with some like mutagen that you could like put inside of him, I believe, right?
Yeah. It's something. It was weird. Like he had interchangeable parts, didn't he?
Well, he had like a hose that you could like detach and stuff like that, and
He
yeah,
showed
he
up
was
in
he was a
one
crazy
episode of the
looking
Ninja Turtles '87 show. One episode.
Had Ray Fillet too.
Ray Fillet,
man.
Ray Fillet, Panda Khan. I mean, definitely going into the into the vast assortment of mutant animals.
Yeah, all you have to do is think of an animal, put a ninja outfit on it. Hey, it's a Ninja Turtle toy. All right.
Yeah, pretty much. And the Triceraton, which made its debut back in the original series.
When did speaking of Triceratops, when did the caveman turtles come out? I remember Leo had a Triceratops with a giant blue bandana.
The caveman Stone Age. The Stone Age cave turtles was 92, 93.
Okay.
Where it was Dingy Dino. Leo he had his Dingy Dino. Don had his Trippy Tyrannosaurus. Mike and his silly Stegosaurus, and Raph and his tubular pterodactyl. That's just horrible.
I mean, actually, we probably can't go through all of these. This would take forever. But essentially,
I'll just say my favorite ones were the ones where they mutated from little turtles to the actual Ninja Turtles. That was probably one of my favorites.
Yes, yes, those were cool. It was essentially
when you
kind of
open
like
up the shell and they've got the baby head around,
right?
You pull the baby feet out. Like that was probably my favorite one.
It was kind of like a Transformer Ninja Turtle, kind of.
Right.
But instead of transforming into a vehicle, it would transform into like a normal turtle.
Yeah.
As pre-mutagen, whatever. So
I love the storage shell turtles.
Yeah.
Where you can open up the back storage, the actual shell, and it had all these. You can even, like I used to take all the actual like items out, like the grappling hook and the. For some reason, Leo had this club with a gummy bear on it. I don't understand that, but you used to put little Dunkaroos or whatever in there, and fun
Teddy
fun
Grahams,
crap.
Yeah. Some Teddy Grahams in there. Hide it from your mom so she doesn't know you're eating cookies when you're not supposed to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean they let's see. I think it was they made the original line into essentially until they canceled the original series, and then they made a series for the television series, which shall or shall not be named. They did a Apollo 11 series for the anniversary of Apollo 11 in '96. They did a series for the Japanese anime, very brief series that was out there. It was more of special, really. And then after they went off the air, '98, I believe, was the last time they had any, and that was, of course, for the it had the, well, I'll just say it, Venus de Milo. So, and then there were no figures for about 5 years, I guess, until the 2003 series came out, and then you've got the reintroduction of the Turtle toys, back with the.
I hate you so much right now.
Back with the 4 turtles, Shredder, Splinter, and Foot Soldier. And
I never understood why Shredder's action figure was like blue and purple. It really didn't look like he looked on the show.
You're talking about the original one?
Yeah, the original one. He had a dark blue armor with a purple mask, and I was, huh?
Well, it's because, well, if I understand correctly, it's because the development of the toys preceded the television show. That's why the turtles themselves don't necessarily look exactly like they do on the series. And we'll get into we'll be touching on that subject shortly, but so you had a whole line for the new series, for the 2003 series, even when they did the fast forward season. And then you had a series for the TMNT movie in 2007. And then after that, it started to slow down. And then starting like 2008, I'd say, you had some of the higher end versions by NECA. or NECA. They came out with a line of just the Turtles, and then they did I believe they did a Mouser. Oh gosh, I'm gonna get in trouble here. They did a Mouser. They did. I want to say they did in April, but I'm not sure. And they did the 4 Turtles. They did them in as if they were from the original comic book, essentially. You know, it's higher end. You know, something like more of like a collectible. And then they also did with all the red bandanas. And then they also did the same set in black and white. And I think that was maybe that was at like a Comic-Con exclusive or something like that. But big happenings though in 2009, and I know you guys saw this. Yeah, I was right. NECA did do a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, April O'Neil. Anyway, sorry. The 25th anniversary of the Turtles, which I want to do a whole show about because there was a lot that went on for that 25th anniversary. But they re-released a lot of the original toys. And it was so cool to see the original packaging in stores again. And had the 4 Turtles, April, Splinter, Bebop and Rocksteady, and it was so great to see them, in stores once again. And
did you run out and buy Raphael when that happened?
No, I never did, and the only reason why is because I still have all the original releases in '88 mint on card, so. It wasn't really a need for me to go and get the exact same ones as 25th anniversary. I know there's plenty of collectors out there who did, but I'm not a huge collector. But several years back, when I was in undergrad, I saved up money on eBay and found original mint on card for the 4 Turtles. So. And a couple others that I needed to have mint on card. I've still got loose too, but they're all at my parents' house still. But I know exactly where they're at. Do you guys still have any of your originals loose?
I think I have some hidden away at my parents' house somewhere. I know most of them were lost in a flood. Tragically, in Florida, when big storms hit, houses tend to flood sometimes, and you lose things. So I think I lost a good portion of all of my original toys to some floods that happened down here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still have some. I can't say I've taken them out and played with them.
Yeah. No. Well, sure. I mean,
but I know they're here.
Yeah,
Alex?
I lost most of mine during a separation of family, I guess is the best way to put it. But
those are tough.
Everything. Party Wagon, Turtle Blimp, I had the Technodrome. I was the only person on my block that had a Technodrome.
You had the Technodrome, of course.
It was horrible, man. I had everything. I used to have the Turtles fight my oversized version of Rambo. That's a whole other story for yeah, man. I lost everything. Everything. With the exception of maybe some comic books.
Ryan, didn't you have the Technodrome?
No. I would have been way cooler if I had the Technodrome.
Or not. Whatever.
No. I had Party Wagon. That was I think the only vehicle that I had.
Did you have the blimp?
No, I didn't have the blimp.
I had the blimp.
No, I never had the blimp.
You had the blimp. Dude, you had it. You had the blimp. Don't lie. I know it's
trust
lame.
me,
Don't lie. You had the blimp.
If anyone would remember if I had the blimp, it would be me. But no, I definitely didn't have the blimp.
Whose memory is better?
You might. Well, okay, so to let everybody know out there,
you had
the Darby and I, we were little kids together, grew up together, and a lot of the time we'd spend playing with our turtles would be at like summer camp, and we'd bring them in, and we wouldn't be the only ones. A bunch of people would bring theirs in, and we'd kind of have these, big toy battles and stuff like that. But anyway, so maybe I assume that somebody else, had one there. I only saw one Technodrome when I was a little kid, during my entire childhood, and unfortunately, it wasn't Alex's. So
Wasn't mine.
yeah. So Alex, you definitely have major props.
Yeah,
So-
I had.
you had major props.
Yeah.
Sorry. But I mean, we could gush on and on about this, and I would like to go in one of the episodes, get in depth. Maybe it would be awesome to one day have somebody from Playmates come on and talk about those days back then, about making the toys and kind of how that process worked. And
Technodrome. Now you can see. Now I'm going to be stuck on this Technodrome thing the whole sleep.
hey, calm down there, Mr. Technodrome.
Damn
Don't worry
it,
about
man. Stupid.
it.
I just checked on eBay. They're going for like $200. It's not like I can just like, hey.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I'm on eBay right now too, and I just found the San.
Great. Well,
I'm on the San Diego Comic-Con of the 4 new Ninja Turtles. They're going for buy it now, $228. Buy it now
Yeah.
for the 4. Oh,
okay, so let's get into then. That's perfect segue into the new toys. There's been some info that's been released. They're going to be having a series of releases. There's going to be as far as the 4 turtles go, I believe there's going to be 3 different versions, at least, from Playmates, coming out this fall. You're going to have the new standard figures, the 4 of them. You're going to have the same ones except with the ability to talk. Essentially, they have a little speaker in their chest.
Then you're gonna have the giant ones, apparently.
And then you're going to have what I mentioned earlier that we'd talk about is the Playmates is releasing a gosh, I don't know how else to explain it. It's the original animated series version of the Turtles. So even though the original animated series, when it was out, the original toys were out, but the original toys didn't look like they did in the animated series.
Right.
Now, Playmates is coming out with a version of the Turtles it's more of a collector's set. They're going to be, a premium figures. They're going to be, more expensive. But I think they're going to be 6 inches tall, and then San Diego's going to have some versions that are going to be larger. Right? I think you said like 10.5 inches or something like that.
Yeah, that's the ones I'm looking at right now.
Right. And this, they're going to, have a ton of articulation joints. So very, you can set them up in any pose that you want and everything. And they look exactly like they did in the original animated series. So that's pretty cool.
Look, they do look amazing. They're incredibly detailed.
Yes. Alex, let me know what you think about these things. I mean, I'm looking at them right here.
The new figures look really, really impressive. Really, really impressive. Like, to the last detail, like, you can zoom in, you can actually see the skin being pulled in by the shell. It's crazy.
All right, so we've got the 4 of the standard, I guess, variety. You've got the 4 talking ones. You've got the 4 of the classic series, and then you've got the accessories. You've got the
4 modern. Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
Alex, go ahead.
Modern series figures. The modern figures. The modern series figures are pretty. They're pretty hefty. Like if you look at Raph, his the front part of his shell is completely cracked.
Yes. Yes.
Just battling like crazy. They look really awesome. They're battle worn.
Yes, I really like that as well. Now, some of the pics that have come out, I mean,
battle damage.
Some of these pics that have come out, they're originals. They're I think they're more of a what's the right word I'm looking for?
Pretty.
What's that?
Pretty?
Well, they might not be exactly what we see in the stores, since these are the ones that they made for the photos, for the promo stuff that, when we see them in stores, they might not look this nice. But with that said, if they are this nice, holy because they look amazing. Mm-hmm. Like how you said with the, the detail of the cracking of the shell. Yeah, that's some nice stuff. That's some great detail. And you notice how you lose that amount of detail in the talking ones. So, mm-hmm. Those I definitely don't. They're at the bottom on my list for sure. But either way. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of quality they originally they eventually come out as. The quality of the weapons as well. The weapons on the new series of Turtles. They look really nice. Yeah. And then if you compare that to the talking versions toys, they're significantly less quality with the talking versions. So, but let's talk about the accessories too. Can't forget that. There's a new party wagon, which they don't call a party wagon anymore. I believe it's called the Shell Razor instead of the Hellraiser. The Shell Razor. That's what it's going to be called.
Play on words.
Yes.
I see what they did there.
Yeah, like what the shell. Yeah.
Right.
So that's going to be the new name of the party wagon. So we've got that, which it's actually based on an old subway car that Donnie has retrofitted with tires and is able to drive around.
Donnie's awesome.
Yeah, see, here we go. Okay.
There's some new motorcycles. There's it's called like a ninja stealth cycle.
I like the Gatling gun on top, the torpedo launcher on top. I like that.
Oh yeah, on the Shell Razor. Yep. But and there's also some role playing stuff, masks and plastic weapons and stuff like that. There's going to be some sets of those, but I think the biggest I guess the item that made the biggest splash with this new release is the gigantic sewer playset.
The sewer layer playset looks amazing.
Yeah. Why am I not 10 years old anymore?
Buying this?
This thing is 42 inches tall.
Wow.
You got to really think about that.
It's amazing because it has an above ground part, and then it has the underground layer. And there's a secret entrance like behind a garbage can. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
And Shredder in this series, let me just say, looks like Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
like what Kevin Nash should have looked like. Right. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty amazing. I don't think I'm going to be getting this, but only because I wouldn't use it. But I wish I had a kid. That way I'd have an excuse.
So you use it. You would put it on your desk right next to the computer you're on right now, and you would be doing the podcast while playing with it. Don't lie.
Yeah, I'd be over here.
Yeah. It's just like me and Alex are trying to have an actual Ninja Turtle conversation, and we just.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Oh, Leo's getting Raph again. It's like, oh, Ryan's playing this. Yeah, because that's the only way Raph will legitimately beat Leo fight is if Ryan makes it happen with his action figures.
Or faulty equipment, but yeah.
Yeah. Leo held back. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, jeez.
I think we already talked about that, and
I just watched TMNT again just a few days ago.
Leo holds back and the faulty weapon
You could see the fear in Leo's eyes. That's all I'm gonna
See
say.
Leo holding back. Yeah.
All right, hey, we gotta move on here. Raph's the best. Don't worry.
That's how you get Ryan to move on. Just attack Raph and move on. Get on with it.
We've also seen some concept drawing of some of the new characters that are also going to be in this series. There's one called Dog Pound, Fish Face. We are going to have a Metalhead, which looks very similar to the original animated series version, I believe. Yeah. There's going to be a Leatherhead. There's going to be Baxter Stockman, and one called Stinkweed, too. So,
iconic villains, a few new faces.
Yep.
Sounds like
yep.
So.
Absolutely. And you can check out ninjapizza.net. They've got some great photos of all of these upcoming figures. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to being able to see Ninja Turtles in the stores again. It's been a few years, so I'm definitely looking forward to the classic series releases and the new ones. The new ones look great. All right, so guys, I think we're several days into this podcast already. I think we're going to do what we're going to do is we're going to say video games. That's one of the last topics that I kind of wanted to have as part of this whole 2-part intro to the franchise. Semi-series, I don't know, but maybe what we'll do is we'll save video games for maybe we could do it for the next episode. Actually, that sounds like a good idea. That will be our topic of the week on the next episode, on episode 4. So let's move on to our character spotlight of this episode, and let's see. How about Alex? How about you go first? What character is going to be in Alex's character spotlight?
This week's or this episode's character spotlight is the Rat King.
Rat King.
That's a good one. Good choice.
Very good choice. I'm very excited about it. I was so excited about it that I had to repurchase Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 4 from 1988, his first appearance, just to watch Leonardo basically throw a shuriken into his chest and have him, cascade down the silo and die. But
God, Leo with all
he was a really iconic character. I know. Well, he was a really fun character for me. Even in the animated series, the original animated series, he was just he was a little goofy. I think my favorite role as far as animation goes is the 2003 series when he wasn't known as the Rat King, he was known as just Monster. I believe that's he ultimately ended up being the original Slayer, super soldier from that was created by Agent Bishop with Splinter's DNA.
Yep.
So it kind of made a little bit more sense why he had these telekinetic powers over rats.
Yep.
In that episode,
I remember that
in that series. Great. But how can you not like a guy who could control the one character, the one iconic character that taught the Turtles everything they know and can turn him against the Turtles? And the Turtles would never fight back against Splinter, even though they kind of had to. I mean, I think he's a very, very interesting character. All in all, his history is so battered. The guy is completely destroyed. His whole body is completely destroyed. In the comic books, he's coming out of this murky swamp. Such an awesome image to see him coming out of this murky swamp, eating rats for the most part for a while. I mean, I don't know. There's not much I can really say about this guy other than he's just so badass.
That's great. Yeah, he's I guess the memory I have most of the Rat King is from, what was it, the SNES version of Turtles in Time, where he was on like he was in the sewers.
He was in the Super Nintendo version.
Yes, and he was like on some sort of like boat and
that shot torpedoes and drop mines.
Mm-hmm.
There
Set your foot on fire.
were not mines; they were spiked buoys. But yes, and he was also in Tournament Fighters as well. He was a secret character in Tournament Fighters. Side note for Darby here, he in the series, I believe it was the 2003 series, where there was no, it wasn't the 2003. It was Archie Comics. I'm sorry, where there was a future Shark trilogy, and he played an extended role where the future flooded, there was global warming, blah, blah, blah. And Donatello had the role of an exterminator, and he had exterminated most of the world's rat population, and there was a little bit of a rivalry there. So,
Interesting.
him and Donatello got
Donnie.
into it in the comic series there.
Classic.
Outstanding. All right, Darby, your character spotlight.
My character spotlight is a character by the name of Mr. Chester, also known as Chet Manley. Did that name sound familiar to any of you guys? Chet Manley.
All right. You got me.
Huh?
You got me.
You know, Chet Manley, he is the one that started it all. Chet Manley is the boy who bought the Ninja Turtles and dropped them down the sewer.
Wow.
Mr. Chet Manley. Now, here's his story. He's called Chet because Mirage originally used the name Chet on a lot of backgrounds for restaurants or names of buildings because they just thought the name Chet was really funny. So Chet becomes the name of the little boy, Chet Manley. He pretty much shows up in the very beginning, drops him down the sewer, and he doesn't show up again until he's in the first issue, obviously, and he's in Volume 1, Issue 7 as well, but he doesn't show up again until this comic they did. It was the Turtle Soup series, Volume 2. No, Turtle Soup, yeah, it was Volume 2, number 4, called 15 Years Later.
Oh, goodness.
Where Chet Manley is a sewer worker. He is a sewer worker haunted by the memories of him dropping his turtles down the sewer, and he actually gets lost in the sewers, and he actually has nightmares of like his pets that he lost becoming like really big monsters. So he gets lost down in the sewers and actually comes across the grid number 32 where he dropped them, comes across the actual glass bowl that he dropped. And when he's looking around with his flashlight, he actually comes face to face with the Ninja Turtles. So what ends up happening is Raphael uses a shuriken and knocks the light out of his hand. And Raphael, being the ever-violent guy that he is, actually picks up Chet, who's a grown man at this point, by his collar. And apparently there's like a moment of recognition between them. But Donatello is the one who has to step in, and he just says, Raph, just leave it for the foot. Leave him alone. So when after the turtles leave in the darkness, Chet gets a call from his boss on his walkie-talkie asking if he was lost. And his reply, which I love, he says, after 15 years, I'm finally in the right location. But Chet has actually showed up. I don't know if you know this now, but they've changed his name to Chet Allen, and he is April's boss at StockGen Research in the new comic series, in the new IDW series that we talked about a little bit last time.
Oh.
Chet Manley.
So that's how they connected it. Oh, very nice.
Yeah, he is now Chet Allen, but I did it all because Chet Manley was the one that started it all. He's the little boy who bought the turtles, dropped them down the sewer, and I actually just found this out a few days ago. So I was surprised he even had a name, and I figured if I even said the name Chet Manley, guys like Ryan might not even know who he is.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So he is deserving of a spotlight.
That is a good one. That's a good one.
Solid. Kudos to you.
Yeah,
Kudos to you.
very good.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I was going to do a pair of pants that Donatello wore one time, but I figured Ryan already did that. With Raphael, so
thanks. Okay, so this one for me, this was kind of the first time or I guess I got a story with this character for. This was during the 2003 series. When this character was first on screen in that series, it really opened up my my mind to the fact that all the different universes of the Ninja Turtles, even though they have very similar, very similar characters, themes, but there can be differences, and there can be differences that some that are small and some that are very big. And this one, this was pretty big to me, and it turns out that it actually was a lot bigger than I could have imagined too, in terms of what it meant. The character is Baxter Stockman. All right. Baxter, and the reason why it meant so much to me is that in the 2003 series, he was African American, and in the 87 series he was Caucasian. And that in the original comic book he was African American too. So he went from black to white to black, and he's going to be black again in the new series as well, based on what character art that we've seen so far for the toy, actually. And I just thought it was really interesting that, for that 87 series, that they thought that it would be a good idea to make him white. And I don't know why. I mean, you could probably try to guess a lot of different reasons why. I mean, he's a villain, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But he played a pretty big part in the original series. I guess a bigger part in that original animated series than he did in the original comic books. And he does play a very large part in the 2003 series as well. It's funny, in the 2003 series, he is the character you just can't die. You just can't kill, because he goes from being human to cyborg to all the way down to just like being like a brain, down to like I think he eventually just is just like some sort of like a computer program or something like that. I mean, it got just silly after a while. It's like, oh, come on, he's still really. But and then going back to the original series, which I've been revisiting with my TMNT collected book Volume 1 from Mirage. That was released for the 25th anniversary. So issue, was it 4? I want to say it's 4.
When he put his brain inside of a robot.
Oh, sorry. What am I saying? 2. Gosh, it's the second. It's the second one. I'm an idiot. That's when he introduces the Mousers. So that stayed across all of them. He was the guy that created the Mousers. When I went back and revisited this issue, and I read this, this is the first time I've reread it since 2001. And granted, this was written in 84, October 84. I'm gonna read you this very small blurb here. So this is Baxter. He's on the air, on the TV. He's taken over all the television signals in New York City, and he's threatening for a ransom. And he says, "And tomorrow at 3 p.m., one of the World Trade Center towers will topple unless I am paid $20 million.
I just reread this yesterday, so that's crazy that you bring this up.
Yeah. I mean, did that have that impact for you when you read that, where you're like, wow?
Oh, it was nuts, because I found this awesome comic book shop down here in Tampa, and I saw that issue there, and I had to pick it up, and I'm rereading it, and I just look at it, and I had to show it to everybody who's in the room. I'm like, look at it. This was written way before this ever even happened.
Yep.
I mean, this was written back in 88. This is
84.
This is crazy. Back in 84.
Yep. Yeah, it was just one of those moments where I had to like stop for a second and just be like, wow, that you know, I mean, it's kind of interesting also that it was only for $20 million.
Hey, that was a lot back then.
That was a lot back then.
A lot of moolah.
It was a little bit of a of a Dr. Evil moment.
Yeah.
But just the impact of the
he was incredibly sadistic in that comic. Let me just
yeah.
say.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And if as you
Baxter,
continue,
a lot of times in the comics, he was rich. Baxter was rich anyway. He just liked to commit crimes because they were fun.
right.
So for Baxter, it was never really about the money. It was always about the thrill, at least in the 2003 series and in the original comics.
Yeah.
On the fact that he was only asking for $20 million, let's just keep in mind that he was also intending to extort $1 billion from major businesses in New York City as well.
Yes, that's true. Good point.
All
right, so guys, thanks so much for joining me again, episode 3 here, and thank you to all the listeners, all 3 of you that are listening. And no, I think we got more than 3, but
I want to say 4 because Ryan's well, actually maybe 5 because you 2 are married. So maybe 5.
Check us for all the listeners. Check out our website, www.TurtlePowerPodcast.com. Check us out on Facebook, Turtle Power Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at TMNT Podcast. You can follow me personally. I'm at FigDonPat, FIGDONPAT. Do you guys want to mention your Twitters?
I'm good.
And then of course you can.
That's fine. You can follow me at arodriguez2005.
There you go.
I'm not going to get anything from this, but that's fantastic.
maybe once we have more than 5 listeners, I might just whatever.
Fair enough. I
tweet like five times a year, maybe.
I don't tweet, so.
Yeah.
Ryan does. Ryan tweets all the time.
I tweet, but I forward all my tweets to Facebook. That's what I do. And I've got it all set up automatically. But and then you can also email the show.
What's the song of the week this week?
Hold on. TurtlePowerPodcast@gmail.com. All right. Song of the show is going to be a song by Bonded by Blood. This is a metal group. This is a song from their album Feed the Beast, and it's their version of the original animated series theme song. And first time I heard it, I loved it. I went out and bought it, and I'm going to share it with all of our listeners right now. So for Alex, for Darby, this is Ryan saying, Cowabunga?
Bossa Nova.
We got to keep Shaw.
Oh, goodness. All right. We'll see y'all later. Thanks.